Okay, so I'm here with Shane Skinner from Enactus Memorial University team, and Shane has just gotten back from Russia. So Shane, do you want to talk to us about the Gaidar Forum and what you're doing in Russia?
Yeah, so the Gaidar Forum, it was almost a two-pronged forum. One aspect of it was Russian politicians, Russian businessmen and women talking about the future of the Russian economy. And the second half of the forum was then a youth component where students from around the world and around Russia basically came together to talk about current issues that were relevant to us and really try to start up some more Enactus teams in Russia was the end goal.
And so how did that go? Like, what did you guys talk about?
Well, essentially, we talked about some of the best practices that the teams from across the world use. So I guess I should have said this earlier, but there was 15 countries that were represented at the Gaidar Forum with, I believe, 27 Enactus students. So we had a real wide range of students and perspectives and that kind of thing. So we all just sort of shared our best practices, shared how we run projects, how we go about looking for community partners, the role of students, organizational structure, competitions, literally anything that an Actus team needs to know. We all tried to sort of share all of our knowledge with the new team starting up and with each other, of course.
Amazing. And so you are part of the champion team. Your team, Memorial University, won the 2012 national championship. So you must have had something like lots of advice to give. What do you think makes your team so great?
Well, I was a little humble when I went over at first because the 15 countries that were there, the winning team from every country was over in Russia. So we were all the national champions. So we were all obviously, I'll say, the best in our countries. So it was nice to be able to really hear what the best teams around the world really are doing. So, from my perspective, one of the big things that I kept on stressing to not only the Russian teams but to the teams around the world was the importance of a real solid organizational structure, so that the each level of the organization really understands what their role is. So that starts from the business advisory board to the faculty advisor to the executive, project leaders, task leaders, general volunteers. So I really tried to stress how important it is for new teams and current teams to make sure that they have a really solid organizational structure in place so that people can be held accountable for what they're doing or not doing. Because at the end of the day, it is a volunteer organization, so it's a little tough sometimes to hold people accountable for either whether it's doing good work or doing bad work, whichever have you. So it's nice to be able to really see where each person's role is and what they're expected to be doing.
And so can you give us a sneak peek at what's going to happen at regionals and nationals? Do you have anything special up your sleeve? Are you allowed to tell me?
We've got a couple things up our sleeve, but I definitely am not allowed to tell you. Um, I definitely came up with some new ideas while in Russia. Obviously, being able to talk with 15 different teams really gave me a different perspective on how we should be running projects versus how we've done it in the past, or what we can be doing going forward to obviously better our communities while sort of having a wider reach. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I learned from Russia that I'm still trying to process in my head and really see how we can use all of that information here in Newfoundland and across Canada.
And that's the whole point of the regional expositions and the national exposition, right? Is to learn from each other and share best practices.
Exactly. And the other nice thing actually about the Gaidar Forum was obviously when we go to competitions here in Canada or on the world stage, everyone's there to win. Everyone wants to win. So while we do a little bit of best practice sharing and talking about projects on an informal basis, at this forum, obviously none of us were competing against each other. So it was a lot more open. We all talked more openly about what we do, how we do what we do, and what our plans are going forward. So that was a nice perspective in comparison to the competitions that we're all used to.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just wanna read this. So one of the descriptors of the forum says that the forum is a meeting point for experts influencing the course of economic and political development. And you were there. Like, how does that feel to be included in that kind of group?
Yeah, well, it was obviously a really cool experience. I mean, like I said, a lot of politicians were there. So Dmitry Medvedev, Prime Minister of Russia, was there. We had the Finance Minister, Intergovernmental Affairs. Literally every big portfolio government representative was there. So to be able to hear what they have to say about the Russian economy, the Russian political system, how they view their country moving forward, what their plans are moving forward, really being able to see how they view themselves on the world stage was really eye-opening. Obviously, we're used to the Western world sort of standards and the political battles and all that kind of stuff. So to be able to really get a view from a country that's almost just coming into the developed stage of their, I guess, their life, it was really cool to see the different perspective that they have on everything that they do. And then obviously for them to be able to also tie that into the youth aspect was a really special thing as well, just to show that they do value the youth that are coming up now. Obviously, all of us are going to be taking their shoes one day soon enough. So for them to be able to realize that and appreciate that and sort of talk to us on a real basis, that was a sort of cool thing too.
Do you have anything that you want to add or one cool story that you want to tell?
Well, we definitely had a lot of vodka, so that was a nice little I'll say a nice little treat. We tried to sort of get the whole Russian cultural experience, and we had a lot of volunteers that were there helping us, and they helped us be able to see some of the main aspects of Moscow. So whether that was Red Square or a certain restaurant or trying some different delicacies, so that was really nice too. It's a obviously not every day someone will get to go to Russia, so to be able to cram in as much as possible in 5 days was really great. But overall, I think I enjoyed the entire thing. I would say the most beneficial thing for me now to be able to take back on an Enactus level is obviously the best practice sharing that we all did. Some of the new project ideas that I never thought originally could be ran here in Canada, but now after seeing that other developed countries are running them in their homes, I think there's a new way that we can reevaluate the need here in Canada to sort of apply some different and innovative projects here in Canada. So as like I said, it was great to be able to network and talk with students from across the world in a informal type basis.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much for telling us about it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.